Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Let's Talk Film, a series where contemporary women get a chance to have their voices heard on the latest film releases. Today's film we'll be reviewing is the independent flick Red Hook Summer, co-written by James McBride and Spike Lee, directed by Spike Lee. I'm standing outside of Percys Tavern, a comfy pub and restaurant located here on Avenue A between 13th and 14th Streets in Alphabet City. This community in Manhattan is the only one to have single-letter names of avenues, A, B, C, and D. This neighborhood is an integral part of the culture of New York City. It's just a few blocks away from the historic Thompson Square Park and Stuyvesant Town. It has been featured in endless movies, inspired the Broadway musical hit Rent, and has been written in the lyrics of endless songs. Past residents include Madonna and Rosario Dawson. And Percy's Tavern, known for its great weekend brunches, super friendly service, and delicious Irish food fare, is sure to delight. Let's go inside and transport to Ireland. I'm here with Larry, owner of Percy's Tavern. Thank you so much for doing this interview for Let's Talk Film. So I was on the web and I was doing a little research on your website. Tell me a little bit about the namesake and why is it called Percy's Tavern?
Well, Percy's Tavern, the name came from a famous and probably one of our less known Irish poets, painter, songwriter, lyricist, and he was huge in Ireland. His watercolours, he went around Ireland on a push bike painting watercolours, which is very difficult to do in Ireland considering it's raining all the time. You know? And he became very famous. And I, as a kid growing up and learning history, I got to like him, got to love him. So I named a bar after Percy French. I've been in this neighbourhood like 27 years. I know a lot of people around this neighbourhood. It's why I opened up on this corner. I mixed two neighbours together, the Lower East Side and Stuyvesant Town.
Yes.
Now come together, which you never did before.
Wow, that's a wonderful sense of community. Tell me a little bit about the fare you offer, the very Irish fare. You've seen on the menu some bangers and mash. What are some specials you have that people can participate in?
Right now we do traditional Irish fare, like you said, bangers and mash, great shepherd's pies, fish and chips. We make our own pies daily. We also make 4 different types of meatballs, including a vegetarian meatball.
Oh, really?
Pork, chicken, turkey, beef, and vegetarian.
Oh, okay.
So we do an Irish meatball, which is funny, you know. You don't come
Yeah,
from
I've
Ireland.
never heard of an Irish meatball, but I'm glad I'm being exposed today.
Well, we sometimes for some of the events we will take a meal, and wherever that meal is sold on that day, we'll donate that money to the charity as well. You know, so it's going pretty good. It's going great.
So you are not only a staple in the community for entertainment, pleasure, drinking, socializing, but you're also really committed to humanitarian efforts and really spreading beyond your. Well, wow.
I always have been.
Well, I'm glad we're shooting here today and we can kind of help contribute to that. Thank you so much, Larry,
It's
for allowing
definitely
us
my
to
pleasure.
shoot
Thank
here.
you very much.
Indeed. And now let's go and meet the panelists. Our first panelist is Madeline Peel. Madeline Peel is a documentary video maker, community activist, and New York City aficionado. Next we have Shawnee Harris. Shawnee is a producer and filmmaker based in New York City. She is also a producer with Be Inside TV. And closing out our panel today is Antonia Badon. Antonia is an actress and native New Orleans, known for her touring play Zora Returns, a one-woman 19-character portrayal of the legendary Zora Neale Hurston. Today we'll be reviewing the independent flick Red Hook Summer, co-written by James McBride and Spike Lee, directed by Spike Lee. So it has been said that Brooklyn is essential to Spike Lee's work as Rome was central to the film works of Fellini. Would you agree with this statement?
Yes, I thought it was the way that he grew up in Brooklyn is very integral to his filmmaking style and everything that he stands for. So even with this film, they shot, for him to film on location, it gives a certain reality to his films as well. And with the like from She's Gotta Have It to Crooklyn to Do the Right Thing. I mean, Do the Right Thing was a seminal film in his career that was showing a lot of the pop culture and things that were going on in Brooklyn, at that time.
Yeah. And I think that's sentimental to him. That's where he moved as a child from Atlanta with his parents. So I think people do have that relationship with where they're from and sentiment around that growing up.
Brooklyn's also maybe, I think, the fourth largest city in the United States, if you don't take in the fact that it's part of New York City since 1898. And it's a microcosm for all the things that are happening in America. So I think that Spike Lee having moved back there. Oh yeah, no, but Spike Lee having moved back there, it was once upon a time known as the city of churches. Oh. And so Brooklyn's a very interesting place for this to take place.
This film was shot in about 3 weeks' time, a little less than 3 weeks' time. The crew was comprised partially of Spike Lee's NYU film students and was self-financed with a budget of less than $1 million. Did any of this feel apparent to you as you viewed this film?
Well, I didn't see where it affected the production quality. It actually lended a lot to the authenticity of the film, and it added an additional energy to the film. The children that were in the film, like Spike, actually chose them. They went to the school that he grew up, that he had gone to, and the children were handpicked. And a lot of the other actors in the film, just helped to bring that level of energy on the screen.
Well, I think it was very brave what he did. I mean, he shot this film in 18 days, in 3 weeks, longer than She's Gotta Have It, which was only 2 weeks. But he shot it in 18 days within a 12-block radius. So I don't think budget was the issue. In fact, I think it added a lot of, as you mentioned, character and authenticity to it.
So one thing I want to say is, in regard to the overall film, it was an important film, but I can honestly say that I feel like every now and again there were some choices that were made that I just didn't understand, and I'm not sure if that is a result of his the result of the people he chose to work with or his own directorial choice. I do not think budget was an issue, and I was actually quite pleased with what I saw considering the budget. So there were elements and characters present in this film that are iconic to films by Spike Lee. Any thoughts or comments on the use of those in this film?
I thought I was pleasantly surprised to see so many cameos from all these iconic characters from his films. Him selecting someone and giving them his blessing. He's just has such an eye for choosing talent. and anything that he makes is something that everybody should see.
Well, I thought of it as a great choice of community in film, and also community as far as in the area where he shot the film, and the style of the film is supposed to produce a sense of community. Reality is just that we see the same people when we come back. So I think that really gave that sense of community.
I felt like it was refreshing to see certain even gestures that I had seen in other Spike Lee films, and to be able to make those connections. For me, it's a fun kind of a thing to see, and I like when I see directors do that. They kind of pull from their own selves and, in a way, kind of pay tribute to themselves.
If you understand the Spike Lee vocabulary, and don't forget, I think he's made over 35 movies, then you start learning what the details are. But this is part of a series. I think this is the third or fourth Brooklyn. It's more than a trilogy.
Right. There
are all these aspects of things that are in it, which if you learn the vocabulary and the mythology, then it's a universe to itself.
Lee has dealt with issues surrounding the Black religious experience before. Did you feel this film was making a statement about Christianity in Black America, and if so, what?
Well, I think it makes a statement about reality and truth. I think that's usually black communities. Black communities have a lot of churches in the community.
Religion was a very strong, had a very strong presence in the film. In a way, also, when you look at the power of the church and the influence of the preachers, when you see things unfold in the film, you are looking at that mentorship position that they have, and seeing what level of reach that they have also. The fact that he reflects upon certain themes in his film is something also that he's known for, from gentrification to, the influence of religion.
That's why I didn't necessarily feel like he was making a specific statement about the black churches. I felt more than anything what I got from this is that it was a story. And it was a story whose pillar was based in this experience. I think an experience that within a lot of communities you have, no matter what the faith is. And so that's really, I didn't feel like he was necessarily making a statement about the black church in America, or even, the black community and their relationship to faith. I felt like this was his character, this was the story of his character, and that's how those two things connected.
Well, obviously I'm not an African American, but I can speak to the fact that I do enjoy going to African American churches and for the experience, because it is an experience. I mean, what you are doing, if you are open to the experience, is experiencing the joy of a community, and you can feel the vibrations and the love that's there for people to tie into. As an experience, it's a wonderful spiritual experience, and from the standpoint of the movie, we got to experience it by, we were constantly looking up.
Yeah.
As if we were sitting in a pew looking at the preacher, and I thought, and also seeing the people around us becoming more and more involved with the religious experience. It was quite beautiful and lovely.
Can I just say, I completely agree with you. I felt like those scenes were some of the just most powerful scenes of the film, and it really put me into that place. And I think I have to really give Spike Lee credit. Writing was superb. It was magnificent. I was there. It was an amazing, like, three-dimensional experience for me. So I'm glad that you got that as well. Yeah. So is this a coming-of-age story?
I think it would be considered a coming-of-age story, because you see the evolution of Flick's character, how he comes from Atlanta, and how he's brought to this new world in Brooklyn, and he has to learn all this new sets of rules. He has new friends that he has new dangers in the neighborhood that he has to interact with, and then you follow him along that journey, and you see all the things that he learns and how he evolves.
And he also has a new relationship. I mean, he's a young man and there's a young woman, but he's involved with a girl, a church-going girl, and they have a wonderful innocence to them. And I think that that's really why it is a coming of age. But they never lose their innocence because the world that they live in enables them to just be themselves at the right time in the right place.
I'm never sure what defines coming of age, but in regard to him developing and growing and being a little bit older and more mature, I feel like that definitely happened in this film. So Madeline and Shawnee, you both, like I said, you both went to screenings, special screenings of the film. You went to the premiere, and you went to a special Q&A. Can you please tell me about your experiences and some information that maybe Spike had to offer?
Well, at the premiere screening, Mike Tyson was at the screening, Layla Ali, some other people attended. But at the screening that I was at, they didn't really have as much of a Q&A, but he did go out of his way to thank everyone, all the cast members, all the crew. The composer, Bruce Hornsby, who we worked with on the score, was there, and he's worked with him prior. So
Flockers and Bamboos.
Yes, and so he was able to thank everyone for bringing this labor of love to the screen.
I mean, there are a lot of great comments that happened, and he talked about Mookie and his influence and in the movie, and about the AIDS epidemics, and he talked about housing and gentrification and the difference between Atlanta and Brooklyn, and technology versus no technology. Oh, he just talked about this melange of influences that came from both McBride and himself that contributed to understanding his vocabulary. But I got a chance to meet him, shake his hand, and maybe insult him. So it was slow, but I didn't mean it that way.
Well, hopefully he'll see this and he'll understand how
it was a way. His Q&A helped all of us in the audience process it.
If you weren't on this panel, would you have gone to see this film?
I would have.
Of course. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
There's some things that that's very important, that everybody should go out and see something when it opens, the opening weekend, because a lot of films that come out, they might not be able to reach a broader audience if they, based on the opening box office. So whenever films come out, I always go during the opening weekend, and I've gone to other Q&As from filmmakers who, explain to the audience that if they want if they love a film, to go tell everybody about, tell all their friends or, whomever they have, use Facebook, use Twitter, use social media, and also to, spread the word that if a film comes out and you go to the theater, you're paying with your ticket to, tell everybody, look, I love this.
Yes.
That's how you vote. It's kind of like a very democratic, election process. And, based on how that performance is, that'll determine how broad a reach it will have across, in other theaters across the country. So
ladies, unfortunately, we have run out of time. I want to thank you all for your fascinating thoughts and comments.
Thank you
so much.
Thank
you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Thank you.
Yes.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Larry for allowing us to shoot here at Percys Tavern. Again, today we were discussing the independent flick Red Hood Summer, co-written by James McBride and Spike Lee, directed by Spike Lee. For this and more, please check out our website, www.letstalkfilm.com. Until next time, also available for your mobile devices. Until next time, I'm your host, Stefanie Alleyne. Keep watching and keep talking film.